Hi all, Rosalie Ina here, hummingbird flower, and it's a beautiful day. I am so grateful to be here, to be alive, and to speak using my powerful voice in a way of self-expression. I'm grateful for this opportunity. I feel it's the universe sometimes will bring us back to things. Okay, I'm just gonna get to the point. So if you know me personally, you may know a little bit about my background. I was born in to the Jehovah's Witness organization, and my dad was an elder. My mom was a full-time pioneer most of my life. And if you know anything about this organization, not just being knocked on your door, I'm talking about the inner workings of this organization, or cult as some people consider it. They're like bipolar with their principles. They'll say, oh, you can do this, but then you can't do this. Or they'll say, oh, but now you can't do this because there's new life. It's a whole thing. So I'm feeling called back to this again, but with the new lens that I now have. I've been removed from this organization since I was 21. At 21, I was disfellowshipped. And if you know anything about this organization's form of disfellowshipping, not now, because they've changed some things, and that's what I'm doing this video about, but back before these changes, you're excommunicated, meaning you can no longer, and the only time you're disfellowship is if you choose to baptize yourself, which is a form of dedication to serving Jehovah in this organization. Now, being born into this organization, it was kind of like an expectation. You had to do this. This was part of the things you had to do. So I was baptized when I was 11 years old. And sidebar, I'm realizing, because that was a big monumental change in my life. When I was 11, both of my grandfathers transitioned. One of them I witnessed transition. I wanted to be there. And then later on that year, I decided to dedicate myself to this organization in water baptism. Now, and I'm a life path 11. So that was a big monumental shift. And if you're a life path 11, things usually happen in those terms. Like 1129 was another big change in my life. And I'm realizing, so I'm on earth years, I'm 43, but I'm infinity. But I'm realizing I'm going to have another big life change at 47. So when that happens, it happens. I'm looking forward to it. Just getting a feeling right now it's going to be a great time at 47. Anyways, so back to this organization. So I'm making this video because they have recently, a little bit about the shunning. So this is the thing, when you're disfellowship or excommunicated from the Jehovah's Witness organization, that only happens, like I said, if you decide to baptize yourself and dedicate your life to this organization. And it's a whole ceremony, right? So at 21, I was disfellowshipped. And it basically, and I have no shame in this because it's stupid for the reasons. When you get disfellowship, you are shunned, meaning they cannot talk to you. Anyone in the organization, word spreads, especially if you were kind of popular like I was. You're shunned. Everyone cannot talk to you anymore. They cannot associate with you. They cannot even eat with you. They refer it to scripture. Everything's referred back to scripture. Now, mind you, the Bible has been manipulated. No matter what Bible you use out there, whether you're Jehovah's Witness or another belief system, the Bible is not, is greatly misinterpreted, and they take scriptures out and they take books of the Bible out. So you're not getting all of the things. Book of Enoch, if you don't know about that, look up the Book of Enoch. There's a lot of different books that were taken out that give you some pertinent information about some things that are not, maybe they are now widely known, but they weren't growing up for me. About different types of entities and their purposes. Anyways, so When I was disfellowshipped, I was shunned not only from my family, but from my whole social structure that I knew and grew up with. No one could talk to me. People would cross the street when they would see me. They would give me faces. They would turn their cheek, literally. Or they'll give you a face of disgust. I've had many, many different things happen because they shame you. They shame you. They want you to feel horrible so that you shudder with fear, because now you're out in the world that is possessed by Satan and his demons. You're thrown out into the wilderness. So there's a lot of fear mongering. I mean, they already do that with the expectation of Armageddon, which is a whole fear tactic. Spiritual manipulation. I mean, the whole organization is just spiritual manipulation. They use fear to keep you in control. They have people who monitor you. It's crazy. It could go on and on. If you want to know more, just ask, and I'll share all the deets that I can share from my perspective. But here's the reason why I bring this up. So, 21, I lost my whole social structure. And then all of a sudden, and I had to go through years of processing the emotional damage that was done, to then finding out now that they've changed the rules, that now you can talk to disfellowshipped people, because they say God is a merciful God. And they want they even change where, so the person who gave, that's part of this governing body, right? They changed their whole thing. This guy has a beard. You weren't allowed to wear beards. You weren't allowed to have facial hair. And now they're saying that guys don't have to wear ties, that women can wear pants. I'm just like, what is going on? This is so strange that they're changing all of their teachings. Like, do you understand the emotional damage and psychological warfare this is bringing? And this is just on, I want to say on the smaller scale, but the Jehovah's Witness organization is millions of people across the world. And then, so they changed their rules because new light came in that inspired them to do this. Do you understand the damage that's already done? This is this is almost going to create war in a certain sense. Emotional damage, I just keep hearing. Because I see this video and I was triggered a little bit. Now I've done a lot of healing work because now I've developed my own over years. Mind you, I'm 43 now. I was disfellowshipped when I was 21. I lost all of that when I was 21. Everything I had known. But mind you, it was a blessing in disguise because it inadvertently, over a long period of time, I will say, and a lot of the emotional damage that I had to work through, and I'm still working through, the trauma, because my parents were narcissists. They were physically, emotionally, emotionally, and psychologically abusive on so many levels. And me having to change, hi doves, I had to change the whole pattern where, I mean, they weren't in my lives, and now I have my family. I have 5 children. They don't know my family like that, because it's just, I decided to stop the generational patterns with me, for the most part, and I am doing my part so that this part doesn't have to continue, and I'm grateful for that opportunity. But the thing is, now it's like I feel like they're going to reach out in some way, shape, or form, and it's like the damage is done. Like, this is, we can't reverse this. Like, I see who you are, and now I'm a psychic. Like, I've tuned into my innate abilities. I've turned them all back on. I've reconnected with my higher self, and all that is. And anyways, I just think it's ridiculous. But it doesn't surprise me at the same time, because they're using all that they can to do what they have to do to save, I don't know how to explain it at the moment. But this is on the smaller scale, but I also see on the grander scale how with the governments and their systems, they know their time is drawing to a close on the ways they used to do things, because people are waking up. So this is another tactic for them to, like, from the Jehovah's Witness standpoint, to throw out their nets again to see if they can draw in some more into their tactics, just like the government throws out things to try to draw in more, because they know they're losing their power, their system's crumbling. There's so many things, so many people are waking up right now. So I just think it's interesting. And for those who see through the illusion, do your part, spiritual warriors of light. I want to say more on this, so I'll do this later. I'm going to add some more to this as the thoughts come, but I just think it's so interesting how this has all changed now. Like, oh, now? Like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, you want to now talk to those you kicked out for, like, that was the thing. So since I got baptized at 11. Mind you, I wasn't even a teenager yet. My hormones didn't even fully develop yet. So when I was 15, I decided to have sex, right? Something normal that someone my age would want to do, to experiment with my sexuality. There shouldn't be any shame around that. I guess that horn served as confirmation. There shouldn't be any shame around that. And that's one thing I'm grateful to be able to have my kids know, that they can freely express and explore without persecution, because that's what I experienced. When I was 15, I had persecution for me deciding to do that, and the emotional damage was horrendous. I even had to, like, my father, like, totally freaked out because he was an elder. I had people come to my house to have a talk with me, and then I had to sit in front of men to explain the inner details of my experience for them to then judge and just decide my fate. So then I was privately reproved, which means I couldn't comment and I couldn't go out in service for 6 months. So it wasn't publicly put out there. So then during that 6 months, I was like, well, if I'm already in trouble, I'm going to keep doing this. That was my mentality as a 15-year-old. So I had sex a few more times with different people because I wanted to explore. I'm like, I'm already in trouble. So I didn't reveal. I had, what do you call it? Hi, Leaf. I had guilt around that I was keeping secrets, right? So when I was 19, I couldn't handle it anymore, even though, mind you, during that 6-month period, I was under that reproof. I didn't do anything else. That was only during that time. I didn't do anything else. And then at 19, that was bothering my conscience because they put all this fear on you in this organization. So then I spoke up about what I did when I was 15, and then I was put under another 6-month private reproof for that. And then when I was 21, I was dating a guy who was in this organization, and I dry humped him, and he came. And then I was disfellowshipped because I revealed that. And so I was disfellowshipped at 21 for revealing what I did with my boyfriend. And then I was kicked out from the whole organization and lost all of my family, friends, and all the people I knew in that organization, which that's all. I mean, when you're in the organization, you hang out with only those in the organization. So I was kicked out, thrown into what they consider devil's land, right? And started my whole life over. And I did a whole lot of healing work throughout then. But mind you, that's a whole nother story in itself. So it's just like during that whole time, and then later on in my 20s having my first child, my mom was there, but she wasn't really there. And then through my whole adult life, not having my family in my life and doing everything on my own, figuring out life on my own. So I was, guess, a pioneer in my own way. But it's just like, so after all this, now having them in my life and then them changing the rules where they can be in my life. Psychological damage.